I pulled into the driveway of 4782 Maple Drive just as the sun was setting, painting the old craftsman house in shades of gold and amber. 6 weeks. That's how long I'd been gone, fighting the Caldor fire up north, breathing smoke, sleeping in a tent, watching the forest burn. And the whole time, all I could think about was coming home. This house, God, this house. It's where I learned to ride a bike on that cracked driveway, where my mom would call me in for dinner from that front porch, where my dad and I built the treehouse in the backyard that's somehow still standing. My parents died 3 years ago in a head-on collision on Highway 50, and when they left me this place, it felt like they were leaving me a piece of themselves. Every room holds a memory. Every corner whispers their voices. I sat in my truck for a minute, just looking at it. Home. Finally. But something felt off immediately. Jennifer's car was in the driveway. That was expected. But Kevin's beat-up Honda was there too, parked at an angle like he'd been in a hurry. At 9 o'clock on a Wednesday night, my little brother, who lived 20 minutes away and who I'd asked to check on Jen while I was gone, but not like this, not at this hour. I grabbed my duffel bag and walked up the steps. The key felt stiff in the lock, or maybe my hands were just tired. When I pushed open the door, the house was dark except for a light upstairs. Too quiet. "Jen?" I called out. "I'm home." For a few seconds, nothing. Then I heard movement, footsteps, muffled voices that stopped abruptly. Jennifer appeared at the top of the stairs, wrapped in her bathrobe, her face flushed. "Robert, you're early. I thought you weren't coming until Friday." Behind her, Kevin emerged from the hallway, also looking disheveled, tucking in his shirt. "Hey, bro," he said, his voice too casual, too high-pitched. "I was just checking on Jen like you asked, making sure everything was good with the house." Something twisted in my gut, that sick, knowing feeling you get when your instincts scream that something's wrong, but your brain tries to rationalize it away. I'd been fighting fires for 6 weeks straight. I was exhausted, paranoid from lack of sleep. They were family. Jennifer was my wife of 8 years. Kevin was my little brother, 7 years younger, the kid I practically raised when our dad worked double shifts. They wouldn't... I swallowed the suspicion down like poison. "Yeah," I said. "Thanks for that, Kev." I should have trusted my gut that night, but I was tired, and they were family, and I'd been putting out fires, not starting them. The next morning, Jennifer made breakfast. Actually cooked, scrambled eggs, bacon, toast, the whole spread. She hadn't done that in months, maybe longer. She was chatty too, asking about the wildfires, touching my arm, smiling too much. I watched her move around our kitchen, the same kitchen where my mom taught me to make her famous lasagna, where we'd had coffee the morning of their funeral and tried to convince myself everything was fine. "You look different," I said. "Are you okay? You look, I don't know, like you're glowing." She paused, spatula in hand, and something flickered across her face. Nervousness? Excitement? "Actually," she said, sitting down across from me, "I have news. I've been waiting for you to get home to tell you." My heart lifted. Maybe I'd been wrong. Maybe that scene last night had an explanation. Maybe... "I'm pregnant," she said. 14 weeks. The kitchen tilted. 14 weeks. 3.5 months. I'd been gone for 6 weeks. Before that, Jennifer had been too stressed from work to be intimate. We hadn't had sex in at least 8 weeks before I deployed. Maybe longer. The math didn't work. It couldn't work unless it wasn't mine. I forced the words out. "That's amazing, Jen." She reached across the table for my hand. "I know it's earlier than we planned, but aren't you happy?" "Of course," I lied. "I'm just processing." She squeezed my hand and went to take a shower. I sat at that table, my parents' table, where we'd eaten dinner every night as a family, and felt the world tilting beneath me. My phone was in my hand before I even realized I'd picked it up. I opened the calculator app. 14 weeks back from today, put conception at late July, early August. I'd been home then, but we definitely hadn't. The phone rang. Unknown number. Mr. Mitchell? A woman's voice. Professional. This is Rachel from California Community Bank. I'm calling about your refinancing application. We just need to confirm a few details before we move forward with the appraisal. My blood went cold. What refinancing? I didn't apply for anything. A pause. According to our records, you and Kevin Mitchell applied to refinance the property at 4782 Maple Drive 3 weeks ago. Cash out refinance for $600,000 against the $900,000 appraised value. The room spun. Kevin Mitchell, my brother Kevin? Yes, sir. He's listed as co-owner on the deed. The quitclaim deed was recorded on September 3rd. You transferred 50% ownership to him. I never transferred anything. I never signed anything. Her voice changed, nervous now. Mr. Mitchell, if this is fraud, you need to contact the authorities immediately. I'm going to put a hold on this application. I don't remember hanging up. I opened my laptop with shaking hands and pulled up the county recorder's office website. There it was, public record for anyone to see. Quitclaim deed dated August the 28th, recorded September 3rd. From Robert James Mitchell to Robert James Mitchell and Kevin Mitchell, joint tenancy. My signature was at the bottom, except it wasn't. The R was wrong, too round. I always loop mine differently, a habit from my dad's handwriting, and the date, August 28th. I pulled out my phone and checked my calendar. August 28th. I'd been in Northern California, 300 miles away, sleeping in a fire camp with 200 other firefighters. The notary's name, Gregory Walsh, mobile notary. I'd never met a Gregory Walsh in my life. I opened our phone records, the family plan Jennifer insisted we keep so we could track expenses. In the last 6 weeks, she called Kevin 47 times. Before that, once or twice a month, normal sibling-in-law stuff. Then I saw the text message, sent yesterday from Jennifer to Kevin. He's home. Be careful. Just a few more weeks. I sat there staring at that screen for 20 minutes. The house was silent except for the shower running upstairs. My wife, my brother, my home. Everything I thought I knew was a lie. And then I stood up, walked to my truck, and drove to the one person I knew I could trust. Daniel Reeves opened his door in sweatpants and a fire department t-shirt, took one look at my face, and pulled me inside. "What happened?" he said. "Is it Jennifer?" "Worse." My voice sounded hollow. "It's Jennifer and Kevin." I told him everything. The pregnancy timeline that didn't work, the deed, the refinancing, the texts. Daniel's face went through shock, then fury, then something colder. He'd been my best friend since the academy, my best man at my wedding, the guy who pulled me out of a burning house when my mask malfunctioned 2 years ago. If anyone would believe me, it was him. "That son of a bitch," Daniel said quietly. "Your own brother." I don't know what to do. "Okay." He sat forward, and I recognized the shift. He'd gone into firefighter mode, the calm, systematic thinking we used at structure fires. Think like we're at a scene. What's the immediate danger? What are we trying to save? The house. If they refinance, they pull out $600,000 in cash, split it, and I'm stuck with the debt. You need a lawyer today, and you need to document everything before you say a word to either of them. He was right. I pulled out my phone and opened the voice memo app. "Starting now. I'm recording everything." "Good. Here's what you're going to do." He grabbed a notepad. 1. Contact the firefighter union legal aid, Patricia Hernandez. She's sharp. She's seen cases like this. 2. Get copies of all documents from the county. 3. Get phone records, bank records, anything that shows a pattern. 4. Do not, and I mean do not, confront Jennifer or Kevin until your lawyer tells you to. And 5, act normal. Let them think they're getting away with it. I don't know if I can look at them without... You're a firefighter. Daniel cut me off. You walk into burning buildings. You can do this. This is different. Fire doesn't pretend to love you. That's exactly why you have to be smarter than them. They think you're the dumb, trusting brother. Prove them wrong. That night I went home. Jennifer was making dinner, actually cooking something Italian with garlic bread. She asked about my day. I smiled. I kissed her on the cheek. I told her the station guys said hi, and I started gathering evidence. Patricia Hernandez had kind eyes that reminded me of my mom, but when she reviewed the documents I'd brought, the forged deed, the bank letter, the phone records, those eyes turned sharp as broken glass. This is fraud, she said flatly. Clear, prosecutable fraud. The question is, do you want criminal charges or do you want your house back or both? I want the house, I said, and I want them to face consequences, but the house first. It's my parents' legacy. Good. Criminal charges can come after. She made notes on a yellow legal pad. First priority, stop the refinancing, void the deed, file for divorce, and protect your assets. She explained California law in terms I could understand. Quitclaim deeds could be reversed if fraud was proven. We needed a handwriting expert to confirm the signature was forged. We needed to find the notary and prove he hadn't actually witnessed anything. We needed to prove conspiracy, phone records, texts, financial motive. The pregnancy complicates things, Patricia said. If the baby's yours, she can claim you abandoned her during a vulnerable time. If it's not yours, we need proof. How do I get that? Leave that to me. She leaned forward. But Robert, this is going to get ugly. Your brother could go to jail. Your wife will fight dirty. Are you ready for that? I pulled out my phone and looked at the lock screen photo, me and my parents, taken a year before they died, standing in front of this house. My dad had his arm around my mom. They looked happy, safe. They left me this house because they trusted me to protect it, I said. Yeah, I'm ready. Patricia gave me homework, document everything, act normal, and wait for them to make a mistake. I didn't have to wait long. Over the next 10 days, I became someone I barely recognized. I installed a small voice-activated recorder in my home office, legal in California with one-party consent, and I lived there. When Jennifer was at work, I went through her laptop. We'd always shared passwords, one of those married couple things. She'd never changed hers. In a folder titled New Start, I found everything. The refinancing application with Kevin's name on it. Zillow searches for condos in San Diego, where Kevin had always wanted to live. Text messages between them, screenshot after screenshot, planning the timeline. An email to a divorce attorney from 4 months ago asking, how long after filing before the house can be sold? They'd been planning this for months, but the worst was her journal. I almost didn't read it. Felt like a violation, even though she was the one violating everything we'd built together. One entry, dated 3 months ago. I know this is wrong, but Robert's never here. The station gets more of him than I do. Kevin makes me feel alive. And with the baby coming, Kevin's baby, I need financial security. Robert will be fine. Firefighters always land on their feet. I read that line over and over until the words stopped making sense. She knew the baby wasn't mine, and she'd been planning to trap me with it anyway. My hands were steady as I took photos of everything. I definitely witnessed Robert Mitchell sign that deed, Gregory Walsh said on the phone, his voice tight. I'd called him pretending to verify documents for the refinancing. Can you describe me? I asked, just for verification purposes. Tall guy, brown hair, maybe 6 feet. I'm 5'9" and blonde. You never met me, did you, Gregory? He hung up. I reported it to Patricia immediately. She subpoenaed his records. 2 days later, she called me. "We have him." Gregory Walsh received a $2,000 payment from Jennifer the day before the deed was signed. He admits he never witnessed your signature. She brought him a pre-signed document and paid him to backdate the notarization. He'll testify. What happens to Jennifer? Conspiracy to commit fraud, forgery, possibly perjury if she lies under oath. Patricia's voice softened. "Robert, she could face criminal charges." I sat in my truck outside the station watching the American flag snap in the wind. Part of me had still hoped there was some explanation, some misunderstanding. But she'd planned it. She'd paid someone. She'd lied about being abused. Gregory told Patricia she'd shown him bruises on her arms, claiming I'd hurt her, bruises she'd given herself. She was willing to destroy me completely. That afternoon, I called Kevin and asked him to meet me at the house. It was time to see if my little brother had any conscience left. We met in the backyard by the old treehouse. I'd chosen this spot deliberately, our childhood place, where Dad helped us build something together. "Remember when Dad helped us build this?" I said. "You were 7. I was 14. "Yeah, man. Good times." Kevin shifted his weight, not meeting my eyes. "I used to protect you from the neighborhood bullies. Remember Tommy Preston? Picking on you in 5th grade? I got suspended for fighting him." "Rob, where's this going?" "I'm just thinking about family, about what it means to be brothers, about trust." I turned to face him directly. "How much is she paying you? For your half of the house?" Kevin's face went white. "Rob." "I know, Kevin. I know everything. The deed, the notary, the refinancing. The baby, that's yours, not mine." "How did you really think I wouldn't find out? Did you think I'd just let you steal Mom and Dad's house?" His face crumbled. For a second, he looked 12 years old again, caught stealing from Dad's wallet. "I didn't mean for it to go this far. It just happened. Jennifer and I, we were just talking at first, and then..." "Stop. Don't give me the 'it just happened' speech. You forged my signature. You planned this for months while I was out risking my life." "I'm broke, Rob." His voice cracked. "I'm drowning. You got the house. You got Mom and Dad's life insurance. You got the career everyone respects. What did I get?" "You got a brother who would have given you anything if you'd just asked. You got a brother who loved you." Past tense. "If you'd come to me and said you needed money, I would have helped. You know that." "I'm sorry. God, I'm so sorry. I'll fix it. I'll tell Jennifer." "It's too late for sorry, but you have one chance to do the right thing." I kept my voice level. "The lawyers are coming. The courts are coming. You can either tell the truth and help me, or you can go down with her." Kevin was crying now, ugly sobs that shook his shoulders. "I can't betray her. She's pregnant with my kid." Something inside me broke, something that won't ever heal. "Then we're done," I said. "You're not my brother anymore." I walked away and left him crying in the backyard of our childhood home. Kevin made his choice. 2 days later, he and Jennifer moved in together into some apartment across town, playing house with my stolen money, and Patricia filed for divorce. Jennifer was served with papers at her law firm, ironic since she worked in family law. The public humiliation must have stung. That night, my phone exploded with texts. "How could you do this to me?" "I'm pregnant with your baby and you're divorcing me." "Everyone will know what kind of man you are." "You're going to regret this." I didn't respond to any of them. 3 days later, Jennifer's attorney filed a counter petition that made Patricia swear under her breath when she read it. Jennifer claimed I was emotionally abusive, that I was having an affair, a complete fabrication, that I'd tried to trap her by refusing to discuss selling the house. She demanded 50% of the house value, alimony, and child support. "This is aggressive," Patricia said. "She's playing dirty, but she doesn't know we have the notary's confession." The court set an emergency hearing for 45 days out. In the meantime, life at the fire station became my sanctuary. The guys knew something was wrong, but firefighters don't pry. Daniel filled in the captain, who pulled me aside. "Take whatever time you need. We've got your back." "I need to work," I told him. "I need to feel normal." Normal became my lifeline. At 3 a.m. one night, the alarm went off. Structure fire, family trapped. I led the entry team, pulled 2 kids out of a bedroom filling with smoke. Later, sitting on the curb covered in soot, I realized I save strangers' families while my own burns down. Daniel sat next to me. "Those kids are alive because of you. That matters. Don't let Jennifer and Kevin take that away." 2 weeks before the hearing, Patricia called with results from the paternity test. California law allowed prenatal testing with a court order, which we'd gotten based on conflicting claims of paternity. "Kevin's the father," she said, 99.9% probability. I nodded slowly, phone pressed to my ear. "At least now I know the truth about everything." "This changes the case completely," Patricia said. "Paternity fraud, attempting to trap you into 18 years of child support for another man's child. And it establishes clear motive for the house theft. She needed money for her and Kevin's baby." I thanked her and hung up, sat in my truck in the station parking lot for an hour, just breathing. The truth should have hurt more. But I'd gone numb somewhere along the way. Maybe that was for the best. 2 weeks before the hearing, Jennifer made one last mistake. She called and asked to meet in person. "Please," she said. "We need to talk, alone." I agreed. Patricia told me to record it, legal in California. We met at a neutral diner, public place with cameras and witnesses. Jennifer looked exhausted, dark circles under her eyes. She was showing now, the pregnancy obvious. "Robert, please," she said as soon as I sat down. "Can we just stop this?" "Stop what? The divorce you forced by cheating? Or the fraud you committed by forging my signature?" "I know I made mistakes, but we can fix this. We don't need to destroy each other." She slid a paper across the table, handwritten in her neat paralegal script. "Drop all charges and legal action. I keep the house. Sell it. Split with Kevin. You get $300,000 cash, your share. I won't pursue alimony or child support." "Everyone moves on. You want me to let you keep my parents' house that you stole," I said slowly, "and you'll give me a third of its value?" "It's more than you'll get in court. Legal fees will eat up everything, and Robert," she leaned forward, "if this goes to trial, things are going to come out. About you, about your time away from home, about things that might affect your career. Are you threatening me?" "I'm trying to protect both of us. Take the money, move on, find someone better than me. God knows you deserve it." For 1 second, I actually considered it. $300,000, no court battle, no public humiliation, never having to see Kevin again. I could buy a condo, start fresh, forget this nightmare. Then I saw my mom's face in my memory, heard her voice from the day they changed their will. "We're leaving you the house, honey. Take care of it for us." "No," I said. Jennifer's face hardened. "You're making a mistake." "The only mistake I made was trusting you and my brother. See you in court." I stood to leave. "The baby is Kevin's," she said to my back. "You know that, right? You're not the father. So why are you fighting so hard for a house you'll be in alone?" I turned back. "Because it's not just a house. It's my parents' memory. It's my childhood. It's everything you can't understand because you only see dollar signs. That's the difference between us, Jennifer. You see property. I see home." I walked out, got in my truck, and played back the recording. Her bribe, her threats, her admission that the baby was Kevin's, all on tape. I texted Patricia, "Got it all." She responded immediately, "Perfect. See you in court." The morning of the hearing, I stood in my childhood bedroom and put on my best suit, the same one I'd worn to my parents' funeral 3 years ago. Daniel drove me to the courthouse. "You got this, brother," he said. Truth wins today. Outside the courtroom, I saw them arrive together. Jennifer, hand on her belly, playing the vulnerable pregnant woman. Kevin couldn't look at me. Jennifer's attorney, Linda Sullivan, was everything I expected. Expensive suit, sharp eyes, a reputation for winning. She approached Patricia. Last chance to settle. Your client's about to be humiliated. We'll let the judge decide, Patricia said calmly. I saw Gregory Walsh sitting on a bench, looking terrified. He'd been subpoenaed to testify. Part of me felt sorry for him. Jennifer had manipulated him, too. Patricia briefed me one last time. Short answers. Don't get emotional. Trust me to handle Linda. She's going to attack your character. Let her. We have evidence she doesn't know about. What if we lose? We won't, but if we do, we appeal. She squeezed my arm. Robert, you did nothing wrong. That counts for something. I touched the photo in my wallet, me and my parents smiling. Let's go. When Judge Barbara Henderson called the case, I stood up, and I watched my wife lie under oath. Linda Sullivan's opening was poison, wrapped in sympathy. Your Honor, this is a case about a controlling husband who used his family's wealth to trap a young woman in an unhappy marriage. When Jennifer Mitchell tried to secure her future and her unborn child's future by putting her partner's name on the house they share, Robert Mitchell responded with vindictiveness. Every word was a knife. Patricia stood. Your Honor, this is a case about fraud, pure and simple. The defendant, Jennifer Mitchell, along with her co-conspirator Kevin Mitchell, forged my client's signature on a quitclaim deed to steal a $900,000 house that Robert inherited from his deceased parents. They paid a notary to falsify documents. They attempted to refinance without my client's knowledge. We have evidence of all of this. Judge Henderson looked over her glasses. This is a hearing on the motion to void the deed. Ms. Sullivan, your client opposes voiding the deed. Yes, Your Honor, Mr. Mitchell validly transferred the property. Save the speeches. Let's see evidence. Ms. Hernandez, call your first witness. Patricia called Gregory Walsh. He took the stand looking like he wanted to disappear. After being sworn in, Patricia walked him through the basics, then asked the key question. Did you personally witness Robert Mitchell sign that document? Long pause. No, I did not. The courtroom stirred. Then why does the deed say you witnessed his signature? Because Jennifer Mitchell paid me $2,000 to notarize a document that was already signed. His voice shook. She told me her husband was abusive. She showed me bruises on her arms. She said if I didn't help her, he might hurt her when he got back from deployment. Patricia showed him text messages, Jennifer describing to her sister how she'd given myself a few bruises to show the notary. Gregory's face crumpled. She hurt herself on purpose? According to these messages, yes. Linda's objection about hearsay was overruled. Patricia had authenticated everything. Knowing now that Mrs. Mitchell fabricated evidence of abuse to manipulate you into committing fraud, Patricia said gently, "How do you feel?" "Used," Gregory whispered, "and ashamed. I should have verified. I should have insisted on meeting Mr. Mitchell. I just needed the money. My wife has cancer and—" He broke down. Linda's cross-examination tried to paint him as a criminal, but the damage was done. Gregory had never witnessed my signature. The deed was fraud. After a recess, Patricia called me to the stand. Patricia walked me through my story, my career, my parents' death, inheriting the house. Then she showed me the forged deed. "Is that your signature?" "No, it's close, but the R is wrong. I loop mine differently, and I would never sign something that important without reading it thoroughly." "Did you authorize anyone to sign on your behalf?" "No." "When did you first learn about this deed?" I explained the bank call, the shock, the investigation. My voice stayed steady, but my hands gripped the witness stand. How did you feel when you discovered your wife and brother had done this? My voice cracked. Like my entire foundation collapsed. My wife was the person I trusted most in the world. Kevin was my little brother. I practically raised him. To learn they'd been planning this for months, that they'd forged documents. I paused. I felt like I'd lost my family twice. First my parents, now my wife and brother. Why are you fighting for this house? Because it's all I have left of my mom and dad. Every room has memories. My dad taught me to fix things in that garage. My mom read me bedtime stories in my old room. When I walk through that house, I can still feel them there. I looked at Jennifer. She sees $900,000. I see my childhood, my history, my family. Linda Sullivan's cross-examination was aggressive, trying to paint me as a neglectful husband who was never home. But I stayed calm, and Patricia objected whenever Linda strayed from the deed issue. Finally, Linda asked, "You claim the house is valuable for sentimental reasons, but you're aware it's worth $900,000, correct?" "I'm aware." "So there's significant financial incentive for you to claim fraud." I met her eyes. "There's even more financial incentive for my wife and brother to commit fraud, which is what they did." She sat down. Then Patricia said, "Your Honor, I'd like to call Kevin Mitchell." Kevin took the stand, looking like he might vomit. He avoided looking at me or Jennifer. Patricia was methodical. "What is your relationship to the plaintiff?" "He's my brother." "And to the defendant?" Kevin's voice dropped. "We're in a relationship." "How long?" "About 8 months." "So it began while she was still married to your brother?" "Yes." Patricia showed him bank records, the $2,000 payment to the notary. "What was this payment for?" "Jennifer asked me to pay the notary. She said Robert had given her cash, but she'd used it for something else." "Did you think it was strange that your brother, who was fighting wildfires, was supposedly arranging notaries while deployed?" "I didn't think about it." "Or did you not want to think about it because you knew it was fraud?" Linda objected. Judge sustained. Patricia pivoted. "Mr. Mitchell, are you the father of Jennifer's unborn child?" Kevin froze. "How is that relevant?" "Answer the question." He looked at Jennifer, who shook her head slightly. "I don't know." Patricia showed him the paternity test. "This DNA test shows 99.9% probability you're the father. Were you aware of this?" Kevin broke. "Yes, I knew." "So you knew Jennifer was carrying your child, not Robert's, while trying to steal his house. It wasn't like that." "What was it like? Help me understand how a man betrays his own brother, the brother who raised him, protected him, loved him." Kevin started crying. "I didn't mean for it to go this far. I was broke, desperate. Jennifer said Robert didn't care about her, that the house was too big anyway, that we were helping him move on. I wanted to believe it because $225,000 would solve everything." "So you betrayed your brother for money?" "Yes." He sobbed. "Rob, I'm so sorry." I looked away. No forgiveness there. Linda's cross was brief. The damage was catastrophic. After the recess, Linda made a desperate move. She called Jennifer to testify. Jennifer took the stand with her hand on her belly, playing every sympathy card she had. She claimed I'd agreed to add Kevin to the deed, that I'd signed before deployment, that our marriage had been failing for a year. "Did you abuse yourself to deceive the notary?" Linda asked. "Absolutely not. That's a disgusting accusation." Patricia's cross-examination was surgical. "Mrs. Mitchell, you testified Robert signed the deed, but Robert was fighting the Caldor fire 300 miles away on August 28th. Here are official deployment records." "He must have signed it earlier. I got confused about the date." The notary testified you brought him a pre-signed document and paid him to backdate it. Is he lying? He's trying to save himself from criminal charges. Patricia smiled. I see. What about this conversation? She played the audio from the diner, Jennifer's voice clear as day offering me the bribe, threatening my career, and then the damning moment. The baby is Kevin's. You're not the father. The courtroom went silent. Patricia let it hang there. Mrs. Mitchell, you just testified under oath that by the time you realized you were pregnant, you and Robert were essentially separated. But Robert was deployed starting July 15th. You're 18 weeks pregnant now. That means you conceived in early July while living with Robert as husband and wife. Yet the baby is Kevin's. That means you were already cheating. Jennifer's face drained of color. And in this recording, you admitted the baby is Kevin's. You threatened Robert. You tried to bribe him, all while under a duty to tell the truth today. Did you lie under oath just now? Jennifer looked at Linda in panic. Your Honor, I need to confer with my client. Ms. Mitchell, answer the question. Jennifer's voice was barely a whisper. I invoke my Fifth Amendment right. Against self-incrimination, Judge Henderson's voice was ice. This is a civil matter. She's worried about perjury charges, Your Honor, Patricia said. The judge turned to Jennifer. Did you forge Robert Mitchell's signature? I invoke my Fifth Amendment right. Did you pay Gregory Walsh to falsify notarization? Fifth Amendment. Judge Henderson's face was thunderous. This court does not look kindly on witnesses who invoke the Fifth after testifying. Miss Sullivan, do you have anything further? Linda looked like she wanted to crawl under the table. No, Your Honor. Then I'm issuing an order from the bench. Judge Henderson's words were measured and final. The quitclaim deed dated August 28th is void ab initio, meaning it never had legal effect. The property at 4782 Maple Drive is and always has been solely owned by Robert Mitchell. I closed my eyes, breathed. Furthermore, I'm referring this matter to the District Attorney's Office for investigation of potential criminal charges against Jennifer Mitchell and Kevin Mitchell for conspiracy to commit fraud, forgery, and perjury. The judge looked at Jennifer. Ms. Mitchell, you are ordered to vacate any claim to the property immediately. I suggest you obtain criminal defense counsel. Outside the courthouse, Daniel and the fire crew were waiting. They cheered when we came out. Patricia hugged me. You did it. The house is safe. I looked back at the courthouse doors. Jennifer and Kevin came out separately, not looking at each other. Kevin started toward me. Rob, please. Don't. My voice was flat. We're not brothers anymore. You made your choice. He broke down on the courthouse steps. Jennifer walked to her car alone, hand on her belly. For 1 second, I felt pity. She was pregnant, facing criminal charges, lost everything. But then I remembered she chose this. Daniel clapped my shoulder. You okay? Yeah, I said. I'm going home. The weeks that followed were a blur of legal aftermath. The district attorney filed charges. Jennifer pleaded guilty to avoid trial. 3 years probation, $50,000 in restitution, cannot practice law. Kevin got 2 years probation and community service. Both avoided jail time as first-time offenders, but their records would follow them forever. Jennifer gave birth in February. She and Kevin tried to make it work, but I heard through mutual friends that the relationship collapsed under the weight of what they'd done. I saw them once, months later, in the grocery store. They looked broken. Kevin met my eyes across the aisle. I nodded once and kept walking, not forgiveness, just acknowledgement. The house was mine again, but it felt different, emptier. I stood in my childhood bedroom one evening, the same spot where I'd stood the morning of the hearing, and looked around. Legally, this was mine, but emotionally, it felt haunted. I considered selling, taking the 900,000 and starting fresh somewhere new, away from all these memories. But then I walked out to the backyard, to the rose garden, where we'd scattered my parents' ashes 3 years ago. I sat under the old tree, the one with the tree house, and Daniel found me there. "Thinking about selling?" he asked. "I don't know. Too many bad memories now." "And the other part?" "The other part knows that if I let them take this from me, not legally but emotionally, then they still win." I remembered my dad's words when we built that treehouse. "You build something to last, son. You don't abandon it when the storm comes." I'm staying, I decided, but I'm making it mine. New paint, new furniture, not a museum to my parents or my failed marriage, a home that's actually mine. I started renovating, slowly, room by room. Repainted the bedroom I'd shared with Jennifer, converted my parents' room into a home gym, kept the living room mostly the same. That's where the good memories lived. The house started feeling different, lighter. A year after the trial, I was recording a voice memo to myself, something Patricia had suggested to process everything that had happened. "People ask me if it was worth it," I said into my phone. "Fighting for the house, losing my brother and my marriage, spending 50,000 on lawyers, going through hell." I paused, watching the sunset through the kitchen window. "The answer is yes, but not for the reasons you'd think." It wasn't about the money, though I'm glad I didn't lose $900,000 to people who betrayed me. It wasn't even about the house, though I love this place. It was about learning that sometimes the people you trust most will hurt you the worst, and that you have to protect yourself legally and emotionally, even from family. My dad used to say, "Trust, but verify." I wish I'd listened sooner. I lost a brother and a wife, but I kept my self-respect. I kept my parents' legacy, and I learned that being kind doesn't mean being stupid. Kevin reaches out sometimes, wants to apologize, to reconcile, maybe someday, but not yet. Forgiveness isn't the same as trust, and trust takes years to rebuild. As for Jennifer, she and Kevin didn't last. The baby's a toddler now. I hope they're good parents, for the kid's sake. I stopped the recording and looked around the kitchen. My kitchen, my house, my life. 6 months later, I was planting new roses next to my parents' memorial in the backyard. It was early evening, that golden hour when everything looks peaceful. "Your mom would have loved these," said a voice behind me. I turned. Sarah, a teacher I'd met at Daniel's barbecue a few months back, stood on the porch holding 2 glasses of lemonade. We'd been taking things slow, carefully. She knew my story. She understood why I needed to move at my own pace. "Yeah," I said, taking the glass she offered. She would have. We sat together on the porch steps, not saying much, just existing in the same space. The house looked good in this light, peaceful, like it had finally exhaled after holding its breath for years. Home isn't just a place, it's a promise you make to yourself that you'll protect what matters even when it costs you everything, even when it's family you have to stand against. Some battles you have to fight, and some houses are worth saving. This was mine, and I'd do it all again.